On the spot news media, we got the latest news. We don't care about the views, we just representing right. Put local news internationally every night. On the spot, wave that Jamaican flag from left to right. Let's get it right, y'all know the type. We ain't dealing with the hype, we make it take flight.
Yeah man, my viewers and subscribers, what's going? A blessed and wonderful Wednesday evening to each and every person out there tuning into On The Spot News Media. Now my peeps, I don't know how we do it over on this side. So we have a few stories to share with you, the regular members of Chan Public and also members of the diaspora. So please like the video, share the video, watch the entire vlog so you can get a full understanding and a better appreciation of everything we're going in a Jamaica. So watch this now my peeps, we're gonna kick it off with an update where a search is still on for this criminal element. A prisoner who escaped from the hospital in the corporate area whilst under police guard on Tuesday. We are talking about down at Kingston Public Hospital. Yeah man. So the criminal element in question, the escapee, has since been identified as 29-year-old Garfield Dias, otherwise known as Camphor in our streets. He's said to be from the St. Paul Lane community of Kingston 11. So head of the Constabulary Force Corporate Communications Network, that's Senior Superintendent of Police Stephanie Lindsay, stated that Dias remained at large up to 7:40 last night. He was arrested on a charge of assault occasioning grievous bodily harm. Police reports suggest that Dias fled custody sometime after 4 a.m. He's of dark complexion, medium build, and has scars on his left side of his head and right arm. So anyone knowing the whereabouts of this criminal element, Garfield Dias, alias Camphor, is asked to contact the Hunts Bay Police or the Denham Town Police Station or police emergency number 119. The police is also reminding you, the regular members of Chan Public, that it is a criminal offense if you harbor a known fugitive. Yeah man, a word to the wise. So we're gonna kick it off in the evening, yeah my peeps, with another police fatal knockings and clappings as Officer Yeman Pican team from CTAC put on another decent spot of work again. Yeah man. So whilst in the heights of the JFJ protests, JFJ at work and the police them down a whole harbor are put in a decent spot of work, making sure that income investigators work for every single penny where them collecting this mountain. Yeah man. So a criminal element end up losing 3 points during an alleged confrontation with the police in a whole harbor place them call Bodles. Now the knockings and clappings they go on yesterday. So it is reported that sometime around midday or a little bit after midday, the police receive information about a white Toyota Axio motor vehicle. So the police them deal with what them for deal with. Call in Officer Yeman Pican team. And an intelligence-led operation was mounted by them. So the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Division swoop in. Yeah man. And the vehicle was spotted. So according to the police, the driver brandished a handgun and pointed it in the direction of the cops. You know, say Officer Yeman Pican team, well-trained police officers, were trained by the agriculture school over there in Portland, where them learn how to plant can in a dirty boy tumok. So the police took evasive action and did exactly just that. Boy gets spread out like a sheet, no longer among the land of the living. Shut-eye country land settings was the order of the day. But there's a backstory to that, my peeps. It not just happen, just so. So now listen to this. This criminal element here, presently on your screen, a real old dirty kind of boy in the truest meaning of the word. He has since been identified as Omar Rhoden. Now, this criminal element here, along with other accomplices of his, go up on a robbery spree. Regular members of John Public make on the spot news media know say the boy them go rob a cash pot shop. And when time them a come out of the cash pot shop, a vendor with a close by and them have a little toss up. And the boy rock and pop off and wet up the vendor. Yeah man, I mean I talk about him wet him up with water. A lone can to the innocent vendor skin. So Officer Yeman pick and team get them intelligence and trail the criminal elements them. But somewhere, somehow along the line, two of this criminal element accomplices end up elude the police and left this criminal element, Omar Rhoden, aka Munga, but nothing honorable about that one here, as the last man standing. Well, at least he once was. Yeah, man. So I saw the police them can of the carrier now. And him figure out say, yo, it's a do or die situation. So him decide say, I'm gonna knock it and clap it pan the squad of them. Hoping and praying say some coward police where him can clap can pan and take away himself in a that little bush up part right there so where them can him up. But luck never depend for him side. Because of the fearless Officer Yeman pick and team, him go buck up in a. And of course you don't know how that I go. So him clap some can off I squad of them. Officer Yeman pick. Do what he start at the agriculture school. Took evasive action, make sure say he made back safe and secure. And clot rifle bullet in a dirty boy tumok. So my Jamaican people, make me ask you this. How would you feel if I did your family member a the innocent vendor we get can up by this old dirty kind of boy? You would have want the police them carrying this old fat figure sit down a prison and program people life? No, them boy must name taxpayers money. Dirt settings. Definitely for be the order of the day. Yeah man. I say that without any apology. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about, you know, my peeps. Me never know how me really feel about that one here. Because that one here, I don't know, it rub me a wrong way. So members of the JCF who is assigned to work at Sisoka, that's a center for investigation for the dirty man them who love trouble like a pitney. And of course, pitney abuse, we are talking about Sisoka as I stated earlier. So they have charged an elderly farmer with 3 counts of holding and take. Them say, boy, the elderly farmer pick a young cherry. And them charge him for 3 counts of that. And also with allegations of a hold on and take type of assault business of a liquor pitney. But it took place over 45 years ago. So the elderly farmer has since been identified as 75-year-old Frederick Watson, said to be of a Trinity district in Ports, Manchester. So according to the police report, the incidents occurred in the retirement district in St. Elizabeth, somewhere between 1980 and 1982, which that older than enough away. We are listening right now. Yeah, man. So reports are that the farmer, that is Frederick Watson, and the female were living at the same address where the hold on and take business go on several occasions. It is not known how old the female was at the time of the alleged incident, However, the police says that she reported the matter in January of 2025. An investigation was then launched. It is said that the farmer, Frederick Watson, was taken into police custody on Monday, April 2nd. He was charged following a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. Now, I want to hear from you, the regular members of Chan Public, down in the comment section. How you feel about this particular matter? I'm not going to say not much on it yet until me get some more facts. I reserve my opinion for a later date, but I definitely want to hear from you in the comment section. Yeah, man. Now, the next thing that we are going to talk about, I want to pay keen attention to the one. Just stop what I do and pay keen attention to every word that I'll be saying. Because this is what on the Spot News Media I talk about for years. So certain laws need to be amended to suit our present day situation. Because people have to note, that if and when crime is at a level that we can control it somewhat, then and only then certain laws can be relaxed. But as for now, we have to institute the most stringent and harshest of penalties that we can to curb our present day crime situation. Now, Parliament on Tuesday passed a number of amendments to 3 crime bills. Those are the Offences Against the Persons Bill, the Criminal Justice Administration Bill, and the Child Care and Protection Amendment Bill. So all 3 are set to be debated in the Senate on Friday. Now, we are going to talk about one of them bill there, where Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, who piloted the Criminal Justice Administration Act, says under the amendment, gun fatal knockings and clappings by criminal elements will now carry a minimum mandatory sentence of 50 years in prison. Yeah, man. So we're going to hear from the Justice Minister as he weighs in on this one. So listen carefully to what Delroy Chuck is now saying. Listen.
Persons who commit murder, they're carrying around guns. If the police can catch them before they commit murder, the minimum mandatory sentence is 15 years. But when they commit murder, Madam Speaker, using the gun, they cannot expect that the minimum mandatory is 15 years, which is what it is now. And that is why, Madam Speaker, this bill, where they use it and they're found guilty of capital murder, then it's either death or life imprisonment. And if it is life imprisonment, it is with a minimum mandatory sentence of 50 years. Non-capital murder is also one in which the sentence can be life imprisonment depending on the nature of the crime and the fact that the offender might plead guilty. It is life imprisonment, and if it is life imprisonment or a fixed term, and that fixed term cannot be less than 30 years. But once convicted of non-capital murder, then the mandatory minimum is 20 years. 20 years imprisonment.
So for those who don't know the difference between capital fatal knockings and clappings and non-capital fatal knockings and clappings, it will be placed on the screen for a while so you can take your time and read through it and get a better understanding. But Minister Chuck also stated that the government lowered the penalties related to non-capital fatalities as he outlined the changes made to the Offence Against the Persons Amendment Bill. Delroy Chuck also stated that the aim of the proposed amendment is to maintain an incentive scheme for defendants to plead guilty while ensuring that the reduced sentence is not too low and it still have regards for the seriousness of the offense. Minister Delroy Chuck, who piloted the bills through the House of Representatives, further notes that the provisions of the bills are carefully designed to be proportionate and also constitutional. So we're going to hear now from Delroy Chuck again as he weighs in. Now listen.
The mandatory minimum penalty proposed now is 30 years instead of 45 years. Where a term of years has been imposed, the period must be served before becoming eligible for parole is proposed 20 years instead of 35 years. As it pertains, Madam Speaker, to the Criminal Justice Administration Amendment Bill, it seeks to amend Section 42F of the Criminal Justice Administration Act by increasing the term of years to be deemed as life imprisonment from 30 years to 50 years where the offense committed is murder. The starting point for calculating the reduction in the sentence is usually life imprisonment, and the aim of this proposed amendment is to maintain an incentive scheme for defendants to plead guilty while ensuring that the reduced sentence is not inordinately low, having regard to the serious nature of the offense. This government is committed to justice, not vengeance. But we must also recognize that the punishment for murder must serve as a clear and unequivocal signal that the sanctity of life is paramount, and those who take it unlawfully must face serious consequences. At the same time, Madam Speaker, the provisions of the bill are carefully designed to be proportionate, constitutional, and respectful of the rights of all persons, including the right to due process and the possibility of rehabilitation in cases where it is genuinely warranted. Every Jamaican has the right to feel safe in their home, in their community, and in their country. If we are to uphold that right, we must ensure that our laws are firm, fair, and responsive to the challenges we face. These bills, Madam Speaker, are not the sole answer to the crime problem, but they are a necessary part of the solution, a signal that the state takes seriously its duty to protect life and uphold justice.
When crime did get out of control, you call for Anjo to do something. Now the man a do something. What you know ball for? Eh? What you know ball for? The man a clean up the country. Jamaica need to clean up. When we're done with this, we're not supposed to see the gunman round here. We're supposed to see decent citizens. So we don't make the man them do them work. Too much crime. I take over. Yeah, some people are going like say, them are the lie, you know. See the liar. This need to clean up. And if the law can't carry out the work in peace without interruption, do your work with respect, pride, and dignity. Let no man stop you from execute righteousness upon earth. Who know the law? No other law, no the code, who know. And if you back down, thief and murderer, are going to become the law.
So the next thing that we are going to talk about, my peeps, we have some criminal elements who have been listed as wanted by the police. The first criminal element on your screen has since been identified as Courtney Ashley, but them call him Ashley Orlando Williams, and him criminal friend them call him Bloodstain or Biggs in our streets. Now this criminal element here is wanted for fatal knockings and clappings and a slew of firearm related activities. The next criminal element has since been identified as Christopher Duffus, but them call him Chipper in our streets. He too is wanted for fatal knockings and clappings and a slew of firearm-related offences. The next criminal element has since been identified as Rashid Thomas, but them call him Kobe in our streets. This criminal element here is wanted for fatal knockings and clappings. The next criminal element presently on your screen has since been identified as Conroy Forrester, but them call him Junior in our streets. This brother here is wanted for a fraudulent conversion. A scammer? Yeah, man. The next criminal element has since been identified as Ramesh Griffiths, but them call him Nicky in our streets. He's wanted for a wounding with intent. The next criminal element presently on your screen has since been identified as Edward Francis, but them call him Eddie in our streets, and he is wanted for a fatal knockings and clappings. And last but most definitely not the least, on your screen is Jermaine Richards, but them call him Richie in our streets, or some people that say Richie in our streets. And he's wanted for a fatal knockings and clappings and a slew of firearm related offenses. Yeah, man. So anyone knowing the whereabouts of any one of these criminal elements, please alert the police. So the last thing that we're going to talk about, my peeps, is coming out of the troubled, war-torn, crime-riddled Western Kingston Police Division. And they have listed 15 men as wanted by them. The men are being urged to turn themselves in to the Denham Town Police Criminal Investigation Branch by 6 p.m. tomorrow. That's Thursday, May 1. Yeah, man. So the list is presently on your screen and it reads: Shamal Bent, otherwise called Soji, come from Rona Victoria Street. The next criminal element, Alex Sangster, otherwise known as Smurf, come from Elgin Street. The next criminal element, Aldine Davidson, otherwise known as Big Dino, come from Market Street. The next criminal element has since been identified as Teddy Martin, otherwise known as Teddy Paul, come from Market Street. This name has also been featured on this channel in recent times. The next criminal element, Leonard Malcolm, otherwise known as Giggs, come from Rona Victoria Street. A next criminal element identified as Damian James, otherwise known as Ross, come from Rona Water Street. The next criminal element identified as Dandre Blake, otherwise known as Skull, come from Wellington Street. And all of them names there come from the community of Denham Town. The next set of criminal elements, now presently on your screen, has since been identified as Lawrence Stewart, otherwise known as Richie Stone, come from Elgin Street. The next criminal element has since been identified as Robert Stevens, otherwise known as Fowler. Him come from Rona William Road. A next criminal element identified as Lashawn Walker, come from Phase 2 in a Seaview Gardens, one of them importy Nakis and Clappis there. A next criminal element only known by his alias as Navas. A next criminal element only known by his aliases as Craig or Greg. A next criminal element identified as Bruno. A next criminal element identified as Breezy. Now Breezy, other criminal element are presently on your screen, where the police them said they knock it and clap it pan them, can up 2 police and injuring a female civilian. And last but most definitely not the least, this criminal element here identified as Shanaldo, and him come from Rona Albert Street, right there so. So anyone we know them criminal elements here and want to help the police to find them and take them off of the streets, whether by walkout or chalk out, please contact the Denham Town Police, CIB, or the nearest police station. And as always, my peeps, if you not trust the police, link on the Spot News Media or any like-minded vlogger, give us the information and we will most definitely pass it on to the relevant authorities who can make effective change. Yeah, man. And if you don't know how to link up on the Spot News Media, you can link me via email at onthespotnewsmedia@gmail.com. Or if you have an Instagram page, link me on Instagram too at onthespotnewsmedia 876 on Instagram. Yeah, man. So anyway, my peeps, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to On The Spot News Media as I continue to bring you fresh news and updates in subsequent newscast. On The Spot News Media. Yeah, man.